Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm gonna suggest we'll do the roll call, the invocation, and a call to order, and then move number 4 up to number 2.
I think I'll leave that up to you guys and Brian. However you guys want to handle that, it's up to you all.
We can do that. Billy, do you mind?
No, I'd be glad to. Father, we thank you for, just for who you are, for how we, just for all the things that you do for us, that we take it for granted. We pray, Father, for this meeting today. Pray for wisdom. Pray for direction. And, thank you for the volunteer and everybody that participates. For the CCID. And just thank you for the staff and everybody that puts long hours into this process. Not only they have a job, there's so many things that, but thank you for the effort and the time. And we pray for those who are traveling, keep them safe. Pray for Frank celebration on Friday. Part of the police department. That's that you deal with the families. That's the. Again, we thank you for the privilege to serve you in this capacity, and we ask that you just be in the midst of our discussion and our talk today. I pray all this in your wonderful name. Amen.
Paul, do you want to take roll?
Sure. So we got Brian, President, Chuck.
Yep.
Chuck is there. Billy is there. Mike,
Here.
Larry is there. Alex
Here.
there, and Kathy
Here.
is there.
That everybody? Okay. Mayor, you want to move to item 4? The election of the chairman and the secretary. I think first, seeing Gail and Steve back there, we have to thank those guys for the service that they've provided. Gail, the leadership over, I don't know, five plus years. I know I've served with you on this board, and all the insight and everything. And I feel very confident in saying I don't know that the project would be where it's at today, without that leadership and everybody's participation and the cooperative spirit of this board. So thank you guys. I think it's also time to welcome Mike Patrick to the board. Thanks for joining us. And I think you'll find it's a great board and a lot of good input, and it's a great project that we're all working on. So. And then Billy as well for being reelected to the board. So again, thank you guys for that. I think we've done this before. And obviously with Gail's vacancy, a chairman's position on the board has opened up. And then as well as secretary with Steve. So I guess I'll open it up to the board members if there are any nominations we'll do them individually. That's fair. For the chairman's role.
I would like to nominate Chuck to be the chairman.
Okay.
Second.
Got a nomination and a second.
Should we hear from Chuck?
I'm another book. What do you like?
How do you feel about that, Chuck?
Things have changed over the last month, and I feel like I have the experience and knowledge with the $50 million aquarium project and overseeing that and this and being a part of this board since inception. So I've been through the ups, the downs, the sideways, and everything else, and I accept the nomination and I think that it's something I could, be very beneficial to the city on. As well as the CID.
Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. So Paul will take a vote. All those in favor of Chuck taking the chairman's position, say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Good. Congratulations, Chuck. We'll do the same for the secretary's role. And I'd like to nominate Mike Patrick to take that role on.
Second.
Okay. No other nominees? Everybody good? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm very excited to be here. It's a great project.
Being that we just vacated the treasurer's role, would anybody have any objections to looking to nominate and fill that role this time?
I would, nominate Philip to take that role of term, or treasurer, sorry. You don't want to switch?
I'll second that. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign. Excellent.
Excellent. Thank
With full gamut. Chuck, you want to take over now or?
I think since
I can-
you've prepared
Sure.
this, if everybody's okay with that, I'd rather wait until the May meeting to take over so I could.
That works. I mean, next on the agenda would be then to circle back to the review of the financials. Oh, sorry.
Minutes.
Yep. You sure you don't want to take over?
I had to do this with Gary.
Everybody has had a chance to review the minutes from last month's meeting. Okay, any comments, questions, concerns? Vote to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, good to go. Now, great.
Okay, and I think Miss Cheryl's gonna pull it up online, but I'll also have a hard copy for.
Got one, thank you.
Paul, can you let me share the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a big believer in saving paper as much as possible.
I get it.
Okay, and then, would you like?
How do I do this?
Share.
Yeah.
I'll wait till the next.
Where are my downloads? Oh,
You're gonna have to
You'll have to open it.
sorry.
drop out of Zoom and pull them up.
How do I get out of full screen?
ESC.
Sorry. One of these days I'll learn how to do a computer.
You know what? If I didn't spend 30 out of the 40 hours a week on Zoom and Teams meeting.
There we go.
Okay, all right, so the first page, is our financials for March. This is the end of March. What I'm gonna cover is the year-to-date column, so it's the second column, we're gonna go down. If you look, the revenue year-to-date, we have a little over 1.5 million, compared to last year at 1.3, so we've seen a good increase in revenue year-to-date already. Expenditure so far, we've had 168,916. And then when we look at our transfers out, we've transferred out 6,312,492. We started the year with a fund balance of 14,068,787, and we ended the year with a fund balance of 9,090,95. Any questions on the first page? So far, it's pretty straightforward. The second page is our balance sheet. You'll notice in cash, we have 8,023,788 in receivables. We have a little over $1 million giving us total assets of 9,101,481. Liabilities, we have a little over 10,000, with our fund balance being 9,090,795. But the next page, this just kind of shows where our cash is at, where the 8 million's at. So we have 1.8 million in our central banking account, which it earns 4.05% interest. And then we have the 6.2 million in investments, in a range of investments between 4.75 and a little over 5. So, if you'll notice, we're earning good interest compared to where we had prior years. So, looking pretty good. The next page is our sales tax report and that we're collecting. And I like to look at the year-to-date amount. So if you go to the far and go to the very end, if you look right this year, as of March, we're 7.8% over last year, which, you know, last year was a 3.8% increase over the prior year, which was a 36%. So we're still seeing growth over growth over growth. So it's looking pretty solid. Now, Gail, I know you wanted me to make this lag report, and I tried. I'm gonna tell you this report is going to be death of me. Okay, because it looks funky, and I don't want to present, I will show it to you, but it turned out weird again. And it's because of when I did do the rolling 12 months, because that was a good suggestion, y'all go and share. But please don't, I wouldn't really put a lot of weight to this, because it's so sorry. I got so many copies, we'll pass her out. And I'll get with the details. Did everybody get one? So what we're trying to do is they want to see by category, and I was trying to do a rolling 12 month. And this is the filing period. And so the issue, oh, I'm sorry. So the issue that we have with this report is it's just when people file. So it does look like it's went down, but the reason is because in the current year, that's where all the lag's going to be. So like for this month on this report where we have 168,000, well, out of that 168, 100 of it's from February, 41,000 is from January, 20 is from prior years. So for the prior 12 months will be like a complete 12 months. Your current one's going to be missing like 200,000. So it's always going to not sync. It's always going to be. And I just can't make it work. So I was trying to give you guys that detail, but it's just, I just don't think it's a good reference. So I did try.
You guys have questions on that? Because I know what.
Right. It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense how difficult it would be to do it, for sure, because everybody's on a different cycle and
Yeah,
some people file and some people don't file.
some people
So,
file monthly, some do quarterly, some do yearly, and
Right.
it's just so hard for it to be a good comparable, even on the 12 months.
Is this something you guys want to keep seeing? Is it helpful or?
I would suggest, since it's out of balance, I don't know why.
Yeah,
I just do not have a document floating on.
I agree. That's why,
That is
but
inaccurate.
thank you. I tried, I really did try. I just couldn't make it. But I think this is a really good representation, this report that we have in our packet of where we are and what we do. And this is a good one, so I would stay with that. But I did hear your recommendation. I really did try to make it work, so. And that's all I have.
so I got a quick question.
Yes,
On the 1% CID history,
yes.
could that somewhat be similar
Well,
in the sense of if somebody's paying their taxes or they're late paying their taxes and so forth? I mean, I know that this is probably much more accurate than something like this is, because this is more up to the businesses themselves and how they file, where this is different, but
so this is based on filing period. This is based on when we receive the taxes.
Right.
So like, yeah, this is just a little bit more solid. I mean.
it's a little more solid,
yeah.
but again, it's.
Yeah, it could be, you could see a little discrepancies on.
Right.
When they do receive their funds.
Gotcha.
Because we go out to the Missouri State and we download this information from
Right.
them. This is their.
Any other questions on the financials? No. Do we approve financials? Okay, is any motion to approve the financials?
Make a motion to approve the financial.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Project timeline overview.
Who would like a copy of the timeline?
Yes, please.
You got mine.
Or?
It's also on the screen for you.
One more.
Really, I know.
You do. I keep five.
Paul, I'll forward it to you.
All right, now that we're trying to read this, the easy part is start down at number 29. The previous steps before that have essentially been completed to date. We're starting at number 29, which will be also the next subject, Universal Field Services right-of-way negotiating. That is ongoing. They started that April 1, and we've projected that out to August right now. Moving on to the landscape plans for the city review, that has gone through Citizen Serve and comments have been sent to Jeremy at Great River. So she should be addressing them comments. That's item number 30. That actually finished a little bit ahead of time. Just by us kind of pushing and getting that stuff through to keep our timeline. So 31 is also what Jeremy's doing at Great River. She's currently getting utility comments and adjustments. She's received some. She's still trying to get comments back from some others. Probably about a 50% return so far. Of course, our utilities have already commented, but our water and sewer. Do you have a question, Ann?
Well, it was a little both. 5 different utility companies, how many? I mean, it might just help folks to understand.
How many have gotten back to her?
No, well, just how many she's.
Oh,
dealing
yeah, there's
with.
5, yeah, 5
5 different ones,
yeah.
plus the cities.
Plus the
Plus
cities,
the city.
and that includes anybody. That's White River, Liberty, Optimum, Century, Brightspeed, CenturyLink,
Show me.
and Summit Gas. So that's essentially, and then of course the city.
People are frequently
utilities, yeah.
surprised how many different utilities are involved in this.
There's a lot of comments to be had on everybody's part, so. That's currently ongoing. She is hoping to receive comments back by the 1st of May, and if she does not, she is going to start getting on the phone and talking with them, according to her. That was our last conversation with her. So, and then of course you can see there at 32, we've got final plans for August. And then that's anywhere from August to October, and that'll be if there's any corrections to be made or anything like that, or clarifications we need. And then we're gonna start working on the bid, and that'll be on city staff. Bid for construction will start October 30th through November 19th. We'll contract with the most lowest and most responsible bidder in November, and that'll give us time. That December deadline will give us time to get all the documentation that we require for that. And then notice to proceed will go out at the end of December, and we hope to begin construction by January 1. And that is still, from all indications on Michael's part and Jeremy's part, that is still the plan. There has not been deviations from that yet. So.
Do we need to add in here, from Paul, an update on, how our bonding coming along?
That would be up to you guys. It would be good, I suspect, but that's more your guys' calls than mine.
Paul,
Yes, sir.
you don't have a copy of this, correct?
I see it on the screen, and if I heard you, Larry, you were wanting to know how this plays into the financing. I think we're on track. Later on the agenda is the approval of the bond council engagement letter. And then I talked to Todd Goffey. Probably at the meeting next month, you'll have an RFP presented for the underwriter. And then we'll get that out and hopefully make a selection towards the end of June. And so I think we'll be in good shape based upon the timeline that engineering just laid out.
Was there any other questions on the timeline?
The bid construction and all of the selection, is that all done internally with the city? Is that, we have the CID are involved in it? Or in terms of the bid process?
That I am not privy to right now.
I was curious, not that I want.
Yeah,
He was asking about.
The bid process, is there, it's just done internally? The city, or is that a?
Yeah,
It's a CID,
responsible.
the CID, don't have things like involved.
No, but as far as you mean choosing who the
Yeah.
leader should be,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we can have a conversation about that. I think it'd be really helpful to have a couple of you guys, the stakeholder members involved in that process. That'd be really helpful. So, you know, who's ever willing, we'd love to have you help us sort through all that. That'd be great.
It's similar to what we just recently did.
Yeah.
Yeah, with everything we do.
Yeah.
And assisting with that.
That'd be
Um,
great.
So Chuck, that would involve, Cheryl, when you get the bids in, we would open them up in this meeting,
No,
review them.
No, the city,
Well,
the city would go ahead and pull them, review them, and then create
Score 'em.
probably a grade sheet for everybody that, and then request, whoever, two members of the CID stakeholders to be involved in that or more, or
Yeah.
whatever they feel is best.
Yeah.
and then we would also have the recommendation from Great River too.
Yeah.
So.
it'd be similar, we just did the 165 and 76 intersection. It'd be similar to that process. Billy, I think, did that and Steve
Yeah.
did that. So the grading would be similar to that process.
I was curious because I know you don't want to go with those bids, the best qualified person to do the work.
Lowest and most responsible. That's the key word there.
All right, thank you.
Downfall is it's a city project, so you gotta pay prevailing wages,
Oh, yeah,
all of those beautiful things.
That come with it.
Us in the private sector don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's right.
I do have a question.
Yes.
On the final plan, so that's the CD set, right?
Mhm.
Are you going to have an issue for bid set prior to the CDs so that we can kind of maybe dig in a little deeper with the contractor? Because I know there's always a benefit if you do an issue for bid set, it's not 100% done, but they can at least go in, give you a estimated scope and cost on the project, and then potentially select based on one of those 3, 4, 5 contractors. And then as you're finishing up your CD drawings, there's a potential for value engineer items and different things that may bring your costs down.
Mhm.
Is there potential for that or no, or is that with the city, can you not do something like that?
I don't know if we can. I know it's a sealed bid, and so there's no way to see the bids prior. We will have a pre-bid meeting so they can ask those.
But if you do an issue for bid
Questions.
set, everybody's getting the same set, and then you're basically selecting your contractor based off of that and not your CD drawings. So the only reason I say there's a benefit, because then you get your contractor in there, and the contractor can look at things and say, okay, we can value engineer this, and maybe do this, maybe do that. To help cut those costs down, it's, in my experience, it's always better to get a GC on board or whoever your contractor is sooner than later. Because by doing that, you have the ability to potentially cut costs, you have the ability to form that relationship. There's just a huge benefit to that, and just from my experience.
Like what we did with Navigate with the police department, right? Sounds like what he's talking.
It'd be similar, the caveat there would be if Jeremy A has that in, if we don't incur extra cost by that, doing that process with Jeremy. The other caveat would be, it'd be something we might wanna have to talk to legal about too.
Yeah, let's talk
because it
about
would
the
be a
legal and
slight
Michael
change.
gets back.
Yeah.
And see what's the, but you're so right about the benefit of that, I couldn't agree with you more.
And to be honest with you, I'd ask Jeremy what the cost would be if he did do it, because the cost that they may charge, you could
Right.
potentially save that and then some by going that route.
Well, it's-
So-
typically it's not even charged for the journey, it's just called 90% approval.
Exactly.
I mean, all they're doing is just process. They charge you more than with something wrong with that company.
Right.
Because it just, it's a, you know, at that point with that was something that's gone. And 90% is almost complete, it's just a matter of all the, figuring out the colors and, you know, all this other stuff, so. We're all, you know, because at that point, usually we do engage someone to, if, you know, input as where we should be doing. But then again, it's also, it's weird because we are going to seal bid
Right.
and, you know, so.
Well, and I will say from the last 90% set of plans we had over 2,000 comments on
Yeah.
that set of plans. So anymore, I don't have as much confidence in 90% set of plans as I used to. So I will at least throw that out there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something we'll look into and I'll bring up to Michael for sure.
And you might want to find out from Michael, to find out whether there's benefit, what's the pros and cons against it?
Mhm.
Because if the reason I said that, those things to do that takes time.
Mhm.
So if you ask them to do that and then it go back again, go open bid, that's a lot of time also with them, so, you know, for a company to, so what is the pro, you know, and con, what has it been working for Michael in the past, is doing all this kind of stuff, and I think what Chuck was saying is just if there's any way that you can do that, you know, yeah, but if it doesn't work for you, then you gotta do, you know.
No, we'll definitely look into it and bring it up for the city staff.
And one thing about this chart is it can change, so if you change a time or a date in here, it extends it out, so just to let you know, if we had to change anything, it would change that time.
Meaning it just pushes everything behind it.
Yes, sir.
That's fine. Okay, any other questions? Nope. Easement acquisitions.
I would like to introduce to you guys Tim Bunkers with Universal Field Services. He's a senior vice president and they are the company that is doing the easement acquisitions right now for this project. And with that, I'll let Tim kind of take off. You're muted, Tim.
Yep, I'll share my screen here. Let's see. Paul gives me control.
Bear with me 1 second.
While you're doing that, I'll do a quick introduction here. Tim Bunkers with Universal Field Services and work for Universal. Universal's been around for 65 years. Family-owned business, two different families that own the business, and we're nationwide. We got our start in Oklahoma back in the early days doing the transmission infrastructure for the country, then went on to the interstate system, and on to pipeline systems, and on to cities and governments and things like that. So we have 3 different fields of interest. There's government sector where we deal with cities and counties and state entities doing their government projects, governmentally funded projects. And we have a utility sector, which is the electric side. And that's what I head up. Plus I do cross over on several other sectors. And then we have a pipeline sector that just deals with pipeline stuff that runs through pipelines. And with that, we have 10 regional offices across country that are located strategically where we need them to have people on the ground to do our work for our clients. So with that, I think I'll share my screen. And let's do screen 2. Share. And let me get this thing to be bigger. There, so I can see what I'm sharing. There we go. Okay, everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a kickoff meeting with the city, and through that kickoff meeting, we showed them our tools that we're going to be using to be transparent on our easement acquisition process for this project. And we use a GIS system, Esri GIS system, to track our project progress. And that's what I'm going to show you here real quick on how we track it and what the status is right now. So I currently have Michael Woods, Matt, Brian, Cheryl, and Roger that are going to get access to this GIS map. And if we need more, you just have to coordinate that through Cheryl, and she'll send over who needs access, and we'll get you access. So after this meeting, I'll send out the meeting invite or the GIS, what everything I'm showing you'll have access to. And you'll be able to test it and try it out. And so it comes into a splash screen. We click on the city of Branson, and it comes up, and we'll have the project parcels and a map that it zooms to. And what we did is we brought in all the stuff from the surveyor engineering firm and brought in the current city parcels, and went down and identified them with the track numbers that were assigned to them by the city. And it's got a bunch of different colors on here. As you can see, there's the pink and the yellow, and there's purple and some green in there. And that's the different types of easements that will be getting acquired for this project. Now on the left-hand side here, we have the tracks. So you can see all the tracks. You can click on them, and it'll zoom to that track, and you get the track information as you go down and look at different ones. It'll zoom across the map. So if you know who you're looking for by track number, or if you're going to do them by owner, you do a sort by owner, and you can look for your parcel by ownership. So just a quick little way to get at the parcels. And then on the bottom is a little dot here. When you're into the system, you can turn on the aerial photography that was done back last fall, or you can turn them off and look at the Google imaging. We got different, you can turn off the easement boundaries, parcel boundaries, and the right of way of the roads. And then the utilities, if you want to see all the utilities on them, you can click the utilities on, and I'll have all the utilities that are out there. So if you're interested in dealing with what utility you're dealing with, you can click off all the other entities and turn on and just make your map drive on how you wanted to look for the information. So just a quick little mapping features on the left-hand side. As we get into this, I'll kind of go over to, you get the base map here, then you have a track table. So this is all the attribute information that resides in each one of these parcels. And that's just a static table, what's out there. You can sort, look at this information, do different things with it, but it's not as flexible. So we have a link that's built into the table. And you click on that link, and that opens up our external database that we track the project in. So this is where all of our data resides, and it's synced up and linked up on a daily basis to show you the statuses on the map. So we have a database behind the scenes pushing the data in the map. And then as we go across the top, you have that information. Then you have a dashboard, and this is where probably where 90% of the time you're going to go look at and see what the status of the project is. The status of the project is a visual look at what the project status is. So as we come up with different issues or things about the project, we can track those, and we can visually show it to you as pie charts, bar charts. And right now we have 0 easements signed of 49 that we're going to have in the file right now. We have 2 agents assigned to this project. Eric Myers resides up in Springfield, and he comes down. Eric is an attorney. He's been working for us about 12 years now, 13 years, does agent work for us. And so we assign him all the parcels that are owned by the city that have lease parcels on them. So he can visit with their lead people out there to negotiate those easements across those lease parcels, because they're unique in nature. And then we have a couple other ones we put on him that are politically connected, or multiple landowners owning some pretty key components. So we put the tougher tracks on him. Then Jason's just west of town, about 40 miles west of town. And he has the remainder of the tracks, and you can see that they have contacts made. Researching means we are looking up phone numbers, trying to get the right person inside the business to call us back and go from there. So if you want to look at Eric's parcels, or what he does, he clicks on his parcels and it filters them out over here to the right. Jason's filters them to the right there. You want to look at the 25 that he hasn't contacted yet, or you click on the 10 that he has contacted, and you click on that and it zooms to the parcel. Now, when you click on the parcel, that's where you get at more information. In the parcel, you'll see easements required, some information. You can see his last contact notes. You can see was said, what he's doing, how the negotiations going. If you wanted to see what that looked like in a real world, you would click on that Google view, and that's the parcel that you'd be dealing with right here. So it has quick links to look at the parcels where you're at, and you can look up and down on the parcel there. The kicker on that is when you click on that view here, I have a little bit of training. We're probably going to correct that here, but you have to look at the little chart on the bottom down here, and you have to drag your little man, or you have to touch the highway road, and it picks the center point of the parcel. And so you have to kind of do a maneuver to get out to the street where you're looking at. But I'm going to have a little icon out here that has just like the little man street view, and you click on that and that'll be set up on the street here, and that'll be your street view. Versus right now it's picking the center of the parcel, so it's out here, so it's showing you a view off the side street. So, but we'll get that corrected here. Another component is while you're in there and you say, okay, I want to look at what's going on in the parcels, look at the documents, there's a track folder view. And so now you can go in and look at the deed and see, verify the deed ownership. You can go in and look at the quiet judgment on there's a quiet judgment on this. There's property information, tax card. The Exhibit A, that's going to be included into the easement document. The easement document's getting populated, and I think it's going to get posted here yet today. This one has a drainage easement on it, so you can look at the drainage easement, and then that has the drawing, the exhibits on what we're doing right here. So you have a temporary construction plus a permanent easement. So the agents have this at their hands. The city attorneys have it at their hands. The city, anybody that's looking at this, this is all one-stop shop to get at your documents and see the status of the project. To look at, and that down. So then you're looking at this and you say, I want to click out of here, and you're on the table and you want to look at the actual line list that's out on the table. You remember the attribute data or the table data is out here. You can look at it this way. Best way to look at it is here through the line list, and that'll bring it up. And so now you can look at the whole, you can come in and you can make these fields bigger and smaller, and look at it that way. You can go extra tall to read the notes. If you're in one that the notes are overflowing, like this one, you would come out here and click the little button here, and it expands it, and you can see the full notes. So as this goes down to multiple contacts, you'll be able to read the full notes. The latest contact will always be the top. The oldest contact will be to the bottom. So you'll scroll down, so you always see what the latest is. What's nice about this, you can click, sort, do whatever you want to do in here, group, filter, hide fields, and you could download it or print it and play with the data. You can't hurt the data because there's no way you can click in there and change the data. While you're in here, if you want to look at the track information, there's a quick link to the folder. So you get to look at that, so you don't have to go back to the map. And then if you're getting a call from the city, or somebody has access to this and they interact with the landowner and you want to communicate it, you would just click on the enter contact notes at that level on that track. And you'd have to remember the track number, and you go TR, and I'm just going to put dash, let's go 24. And I'm going to agent, so it'd be a city agent. I put city agent, anybody from the city other than who we're doing here. I go city agent, and then we're just going to type in test. And hit submit. and then that's submitted to the database. On the backside in our database, we have a doc specialist that monitors the database. And as she monitors that database, I'm going to get back out to here, view, Mary's view. And she gets an email that this information was just tested or in there. So this is the one right here, track folder, researching 24, and she'll review the data and she'll copy and paste it, put it in the database where it belongs. So it's not just us that can enter data or correct data in the system. So if you see something, just go ahead and put it at that point. She will make sure it gets updated, then she deletes that record when she's done, once it's all updated. So really easy way to have people outside our system to get at the data and manipulate the data and request calls. So Ann had a few update calls, and so we put it in that way on a contact note. It went to the right track file, and now we have the most current information on each track. So on the dashboard, as we get going, zoom out here, and as the agents get things going, if we have issues, some of the stuff that we have in here that we're doing statuses on will be researching. Means we're released to go start talking to landowners. So they're looking for phone numbers, they're calling phone numbers, they're trying to get past the first person to get the right person to talk to negotiate. If they get a good phone number, it's going to be contact made, and they're starting to assemble the information. Once we get the documents in their hands and we're talking back and forth, that'll get flipped to negotiations, and that'll be a negotiation status. So over on the here, another color will pop up, negotiations. And then when we get that to a certain point and we get the easement signed or sent out for easements, there'll be a status in there, how many are sent out for easement, meaning we're ready, that's in the hands of the landowner. We're waiting for documents to come back. And then easement signed will be there. And then after the review and the city and everything, makes what it needs to do, it'd be a track closeout. So eventually this will get turned into 4 or 5 bars here, and you'll be able to see the statuses go up and down. Our ultimate goal is to get all these here over to contact made, all to negotiating, all to easement sent out, easements back, and contract close. So the bar charts will keep fluctuating. You'll see the pie charts change with it, and then as we sign, you'll have this here. So no need to, if you're in a quick call or you have one of the landowners out here call you into the office or gets a hold of somebody, you just have to go out back to the map. Here is a good way of looking it up. So if we wanted to, let's do Faith Church. So let's just do this one here. So if you're looking for it, you don't know what track they're on, you can sort this by ownership, and you can go down, look at the ownership and try to find the one you're looking. If not, you would click on the search here and just type in Faith, and it'll bring up, gotta spell it right, parcel search, and there it is. So then you can come over here, click on the parcel, look at the data, look at the notes, and then if you wanted to submit a note, you just put enter contact notes, and just remember that you have to put TR-16, and it'll get sorted into that track. So it's kind of how that kind of rolls and goes through the process. So it's a transparent, easy way to look at the project as a whole, and it keeps us from playing phone tag or email tag if somebody has a question or wants to submit some information on the project. So you're able to get at the database behind the scenes and look at the data there. You can look at the dashboards and look at the status of how the agents are coming on the project. And then you have the enter the contact notes. So we can, as we get into this process and you get into construction, you want it to monitor any issues in the field, we can come up with another dashboard, come up, monitoring data, and we can have the city drive their, project through this GIS table here, and we can customize that to keep everybody one-stop shop to look at the data. Any questions? So we have, on Eric's list, he's got 5 of them contacts are made. 10 of them are made on that one. If we look at the track table data, you can see all the different notes when you go out there. There's, every track's been touched except a couple here. He's still trying to come up with the right names and get a phone number that's going to go in there. But you can go in and you can browse all these notes by clicking the line list right here up on this list here. Or if you want, you can go back to the map and you just click on each parcel and you can look at that. So you can make this pop out if you want by pushing this button right here. And then as you click on different parcels, it just stays open and you can go and look at the status. Whoops, get back in there. You get to look at the status of each one at that point. You can go in there and click and just go up the line route and start looking at all the statuses.
Very nice. It's very impressive. Wow.
So basically, for those who sign up, or we get your password will come from Universal, will come from me. We usually had our GIS group do it, but I put a little more of a personal touch on it. If you have any questions, I'd sooner have it come back through me versus getting into their queue and then not being responsive. So your username will be given to you and your password will be given to you. And then when you click on it for the first time, it's going to ask you a series of security questions. And then you'll pick your own password and then it'll go. If you ever need your password reset, so you have to keep a hold of your password, you just email me, then I'll have the GIS team reset it, and then you'll get another screen that looks like this to go out. So then at that point, you'll just click on the link here and it automatically opens up, have you log in for the first time. And then when you do that, just save your link out here to your favorites. So you won't have to remember the email address or anything like that. If you save it to your favorites on your browser, you just go to that favorites on your browser, and if you have your computer saving your passwords or whatever, it'll just automatically open up and go in. If you get prepared for a meeting and you want to make sure you have the latest and greatest information, just email me and I will, or call me, whatever. I'll make sure our GIS team has whatever's out there entered that day won't show up until the next day. So on the map. So we actually do a push sync versus automatic sync.
Jim Larry, who prepares the actual easement, the legal document?
So we have the templates on those. So let's go and open one up here.
They were prepared by Great River.
Yeah, so the Exhibit A and the Exhibit B was prepared by Great River, and the project easements were provided by Cheryl, and we're still waiting on the lease easement, the easement for the lease parcels. That's the ones we're waiting on there, but temporary construction easement will be there, and this is going to be all completely filled out at the end of she has them all ready. She's just going to stage them after this meeting to upload them. So the agents will have all this in their hands. And the only thing we're requesting the agents to do is verify. They've got a lot of LLCs and corporations, is they have to go out and show them the easement, but before we build the signature block for them, they have to go out and provide us their proof that the secretary president has authorization to sign before we put their stuff on there. So we want them to verify that, bring their articles of incorporation signature page forward so we can have that in our track folder. So the attorneys, or if anything needs to see it, they see that our due diligence was done on verifying we have the right people signing off on these easements, as opposed to just getting a signature and we find out, a year from now that they weren't their authority to sign. So we actually go through an extra little movement to get them to give us a page off their declaration, a page of their LLC or their incorporation to verify the signature can sign. So our doc specialist, legal, title report lady is a paralegal. So she has this all locked down and she trains the agents good and she makes sure everything matches.
Great. Excellent.
So each track folder, when you click on those parcels, they'll open up and then all their information will be here. So you'll see what we all use to build the document and use to go forward. And so there's a Secretary of State registration sheet. And a lot of times it has an agent on there. So we'll have to get a hold of the agent to get a hold of people to come up the declaration page. And you'll see a declaration page. And then we'll build our document and then put it in the track folder. So little legwork that's probably takes more time getting that pulled together than it is negotiating the easements on a lot of projects. So.
I'm not sure any questions for him. Am I reading this flow chart correctly? Item number 29. Is this suggesting that we're anticipating having all these easements done about August 29th?
That's what we're going. Yep.
That's the schedule that Universal gave us, and that's what we used.
Yes. And so that's what we're shooting for. And talking to the agents, other than Eric had a few tough ones that we'll visit with the city about, but Jason, he's talked to a lot of these landowners already, or the business owners, and they're excited about the project. And he says this is going to go pretty smoothly on several of these. Some of them have some questions and unique questions, and as we get those, we'll bring those. I'm thinking we're going to have a weekly meeting that between now and probably the middle of June, probably, because they're going to be talking a lot with the landowners. That's where most of the questions will come out. So we'll invite our people to be on there, and if whoever wants to be on there from the city will be on that. Be just a 30-minute call that any issues, any questions we can ask versus waiting for emails and getting routed around. We can just ask those questions and get some of those comments back. So, their questions are going to be when we get into the plan sheets. We'll be putting the plan sheets out there in each track folder. Right now it's in one folder and it's a big file. It takes a while to open up. So we're separating that out. We're going to put the track numbers on those plan sheets. And when you click on this and go to the track folder, inside the track folder is going to have that plan sheet that superimposes the project over the aerials. And that's where most of our questions will be addressing and putting on that plan sheet. So we'll keep a running log of a visual on that, and you'll be able to see those. The ones that are asking most questions right now are the ones that are going from 2 drives down to 1, or their temporary construction is going to take out a bunch of their parking while they're doing it. And that's something that we'll probably have to have someone from the city and from the construction, how are you going to, is it going to be just, it's a shaded area that's taking out parking, but is it, not permanent? And we were talking through a couple of them today and kind of talking through it, and it's going to, told them it's chance that, well, then when Eric pointed out, so they're going to gain 3 parking spots on this one because they're taking out the driveway and they're going to end up with more parking. So we're looking at each one. We're going to come up with the positives, talk to them about the positives first before we get into arguing back and forth that they're taking out my parking. So, but we'll get those all screenshotted as we get them. We'll keep bringing them forward. So.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Tim.
So with that, if there's no questions, I'll let you get back to your meeting, and I'll probably go camera dark here. I'll listen in for a little bit. So at the end of the meeting, if somebody wants to, look at this one more time, I can bring it up.
No other questions for him? No. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have questions for Tim, but I have questions for you guys. Who typically would have access to that? And are there any restrictions on access for confidentiality, things like that?
I don't know how it's been handled in the past. Do you?
Right.
Sharon, what do you think, man?
Most of the time it's the engineering department.
What do you think?
And then with Ann, probably having Ann on it, which would be beneficial because she would be able to update whenever she has conversations with the property owners. And so that would be beneficial.
As the chair, or whoever the chair is during this process time, I think that it would be beneficial for them to have access as
Okay.
well.
Yep. Just let Cheryl know and we'll need their email address and we'll just set them up. And
Okay.
it's secured with that GIS login. Some things, when you're in it, you can copy that link and share that link, but we change out those links on a regular basis. So you might get a shared link, that you go into here and you click this and someone says, I want to share it, and they come in and share it, that'll show up. But every week that gets changed, your link's going to be broken. So that's why we have it always live on our side. So people come and go and we just don't know. We can't keep track if they're past employees or they got kicked off the project or whatever. So our links are always changing. But if you have access to the GIS, that's secured access, that's where you get your links at, is the most current information. So.
Thank you.
And then we have a field that we have in here that it's called tax card. And when you click on the tax card, it's what the agents always do every time they go out, they click on the tax card because it is Branson and it's a corridor that changes a lot, and it shows a current tax ownership. So he doesn't have to go look for it. And if it changes from what we have, and then we have to, flag that, go back and get a hold of the engineering and say, we're going to have to change names on all the exhibits, and we'll pull down the new warranty deed or the deed that transfers property. But it's a quick check versus going through something, finding out that we got everything Buddy signed and they signed on a parcel that just got sold.
Thank you.
One more follow-up. I'm sorry.
No, good.
The plan that they're gonna overlay,
Mhm.
what plan is that they're gonna overlay and how detailed is that plan?
It will be the plans from Great River, I believe,
The
correct?
architectural plans or the design development?
Design development right now is all it
Yeah.
would be.
And we're not gonna overlay that on the GIS. We were gonna rubber sheet them in there. And we're not gonna do that because they're constantly changing. So all we're gonna do is take the page that's for that parcel and we're gonna put that in the track folder. And then if that changes, we delete that one, put the new one in. And then our agents are instructed that anything that has that title block on it with the plan sheet on it, they cannot email or share that with any landowner. They can do a screen clip of the parcel that we're looking at only and embed that into an email or print that out, but they can't print their plan sheet out and take it into the field and leave a page behind because things are changing all the time. So they have instructions that they can't use it that way.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, that's amazing. That's all I got.
I wish we had that when we were doing annexation.
Where was that for a company like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isaac.
exactly.
Okay, we'll keep it moving. Discussion on the selection of engineering firm for 76-165.
As you guys know, we put out an RFQ for the intersection of 76 and 165. We had 3 responsive qualifications. CJW, Great River Engineering, and what was the other one?
Obviously, it was not the one.
Well, it wasn't the winner. Bartlett West was who it was. And based off the scoring, CJW is who we entered in the negotiations with currently. And we're waiting on pricing back from them for the improvements. The budget is 1.6 million.
It's surprising.
Yeah, I was
Little
little bit. So. Yeah, I was surprised.
It's gonna be interesting.
It is going to be interesting.
You have 2 different firms working together.
Well, and the difference there will be is essentially that portion has already been completed. So
Yeah.
there won't be a lot of cooperation, I guess, need necessarily for cooperation at that intersection. Other than extending the duck bank across. And if we'll be modeling it off of what was there on the last phase of phase 3 and what's coming through for phase 1 and 2. So the big thing was getting there's a water main that did not get pushed through there because of the conclusion of segment 3. It did not get pushed through that intersection. So we'll be extending that water main through there and then just doing some signal upgrades and stuff like that. And the turn lane coming off of 76 going southbound on the 165. So
I was just curious, I mean, I don't want to get reviewed. I just, I know Keith Francis worked for CJW, right? Yeah. How far was it? I mean, it was, I just surprised. Because the biggest thing is it's so big a project, and you think with the Bear River, you know, stuff that they were working with.
4.05 is what CJW had, 3.79 is what Great River had. So that's, and then of course, Bartlett West was down at 3.5.
Yeah.
So.
Now Bartlett didn't show us so many, not too many sample of what things that they work on, but okay. It also surprised how far apart the scoring was.
Yeah, it was, well, the scoring on those is always kind of tricky, I guess is the best way to say it. It just
But
depends
it's
on.
pretty subjective.
Yeah, it's very
You're not-
subjective
you
to
look
the
at all this
evaluator.
work and trying to figure out things, you know, especially the metric that was designed.
Mhm.
And the way you ask the question and how you respond it is very interesting because it's so it's not clear cut one of those kind of stuff. It's almost like, you know, even the sample that they give you,
Mhm.
it was just interesting.
Well, and I can't speak for anybody else but myself, but my concern was the budget and them saying that we didn't have enough budget initially. I'll throw that out there.
Who's saying that?
Great River. That was slightly concerning, so. We want firms that'll work within the constraints of the job. And there's a caveat in these now too, that thanks to Michael, that if this busts or goes out of budget on construction, it's on them at no cost to us to redesign that intersection. So there's some written risk in that too, because you could be talking substantial money if they have to completely redesign that intersection because they overbuilt it. So.
Yeah, you look at the numbers and you look at the track record of the previous work and how much I did see. They're all pretty much saying they were under the budget. Now they did make that statement, but it was not something that all they're saying was just you didn't have enough money for it. But in terms of the track record of what they've done is pretty consistent. To especially CJW and Red River. Bartlett was so far off, just, I mean, they're just, you know, even the staff, it's just like, wow. I mean, you know, you wonder about all that stuff. This was interesting. I was shocked, let's just say, put this way, in terms of the numbers that far out.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, they're both good presentations by two firms that do a lot of intersections, so.
It was one of the projects they're doing, so they did a study on a track, on a light, something, and I'm just thinking, God, I mean, that's a sample they give you, and that is actually CJW that did that. And I just think, interesting. But thank you, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on to discussion of funding sidewalks and duck bank construction.
That one I'll be honest on. I don't know what that means. I really will.
That's where Michael's on vacation.
Well, I-
That's one of those Michael's on vacation moments,
Yeah.
right?
What's Mother's Day?
We
I'd
can move that.
I'd
We
sent
can move that.
Michael a note requesting any clarification, heard nothing back, so.
Okay, that's why I was like, I am not prepared for that one and I have no idea what that means.
We can table.
I can add a couple of notes to that. Just real quick. We've already received one TAP grant for, pedestrian and safety improvements. Though that's $640,000. 20% of that will be paid by us. And then the other, 80% is TAP funds that will go towards those Z medians in the median islands, on the project. The water main that's 100% us, that's coming from tourism tax. We are applying Friday for a second round of TAP funding, and that'll be including the Hawk systems in phase 3 and the protection medians, the Z medians, in those two phases, as well as the other pedestrian crossing on Shepherd of the Hills. The duck bank funding is an overall part of the project.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's really probably not what you were looking for, but that's the gist of what I've got, so.
Hey, well, we'll, like I said, Paul, we'll wanna maybe touch base with Michael and we can keep that on there for the next month's meeting as well for any updates he may have different than that.
Okay,
I'm gonna move to you for the resolution approving the engagement letter with Gilmore and Bell.
sure. So before I get into that, I just got to say the presentation by Tim with Universal was incredibly informative. I've never seen GIS used in that manner for large scale easement acquisition. So I learned something every day. That was pretty impressive. The next item is the resolution. That's just the Gilmore and Bell engagement letter. At the last meeting, we went over the responses to the bond council. Todd Goffey spoke briefly about the bond council fee. We won't really know whether we need to take them up on their underwriting fee until we enter into negotiations with a selected bond council. And I think the goal, after the timeline presented earlier showing bids going out, hopefully estimated or coming back mid-November, probably starting in earnest after presumably an underwriter selected in June, July-ish. That I think Todd said it takes 2 or 3 months to get the debt issuance proceedings done. So hopefully try and get that money in around September-ish, maybe October-ish. Best to have the money in the bank before contracts are let and those expense obligations incurred. So in a little bit more detail, Mayor, I think that kind of hopefully answers your question. I think we're still on track, marrying up the financing with the updated engineering schedule. So that's really all I have on that.
Anybody have any questions for Paul? No? So Paul, we need a motion.
Yes, sir. Motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution to engage Gilmore and Bell.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. And then now, Paul, the resolution for the ImageWorks.
And
Agreement.
yeah, kind of looked at Ann. She handled this one with the website company.
Yeah. We've talked about this for the last several months, probably. Tried to get it to you last month, but due to technical issues on my part, took a little bit longer, but I have not had this by image workshop, but they have agreed to these terms. It's basically what was presented a couple of months ago, maybe rounded up and not to exceed contract to create and service our website for 1 year. So you've got the services agreement there and what they're going to provide. So with the pass of this resolution, we'll get started.
Michael, what we're doing is we're building, 76 CID is building a website. And it's intended for several things. So it's intended to keep the public up to date of our progress. And to post these meetings for the public. But we're at the point where we want to start engaging the public, because I mean, I hear all the time, some people out there think this project's dead.
Most people do, I think.
Yeah.
That's great to hear, you know, so I know it's forward, trying to do your research and get caught up to speed, you know, there's not a lot
Yeah.
of information.
That's right.
So all those things that I gave you to get prepared for this meeting will be on a website where we can send people and they'll have the timeline, the history, the current board, what meetings are, meeting recordings, everything that, you know, the average person, media or stakeholder might be interested in knowing about the CIDs, so.
And as secretary, you get to maintain it all.
Happy to do it.
Are you taking notes, Mike? That's that too.
Probably need a motion.
I'll make a
We
motion.
did.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second. Any discussion? And all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
And today I've anticipated timeline of.
I've asked them that, but because this has jumped around on us a couple of different times, it kind of depends on this one. Sure. My guess is 4,000 days.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna, I'll bring it out in the process for meetings.
okay.
Hey, Paul, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Being as we just changed some of these titles, officers, is it fair to have Chuck as the newly elected chair sign these resolutions?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you. Is there any introduction of any new business?
There's Gail or Kathy may have some update, but I'm told from Representative Sites that the House approved $6.2 million to go towards this project. It still needs to go through the Senate, and I don't know how good that's looking.
I do. Senator Esslinger adjusted that amount up to 37 million, which is what she suggested to me originally, that we should ask for more, knowing that we'll get less. So that'll have to pass the House, and then there's some negotiation, I guess, between the two to resolve that. So that's a great sign, and then it looks like we will get something, and hopefully somewhere greater than 6 and certainly less than 37.
Very nice.
But
We're running out of time.
they are. I think May
Yeah, May.
10 is when the governor has to sign the budget, so we'll know very soon. In fact, we were thinking we might know yesterday where that amount negotiated to, but I did not hear, unless you did, Gail. Did you hear anything?
So the markup, so, I think there's two things. So we have to have it, it's not like they can just write us a check. It has to come through a department. And so it's got to come probably through the Office of Administration, Economic Development, or MODOC. And Lincoln Pop is the head of appropriations at Springfield. And Carla just happens to be on that. So, so that's good news. Anyway, the markups here yesterday, and they haven't started on changing numbers. Now they might have today because they don't have a lot of time. So I'm sure everyone's curious. You know, the political process is complicated. My opinion is we will get some money. Because everybody seems to agree that there will be some money coming to us, the number is how much? And it could be 6.2, it could be 5, it could be 30, it could be 18. You know, what I told everybody is the magic number is 18, because if you remember, when Todd Gilroy did the analysis, we do not have enough coverage for the last section of the bonds. There's a certain amounts you have to have the bond coverage to be able to get satisfied with criteria. We would not have that. And he kind of gave us a number, and so the number is lower than 18, but because that's so far away, I've told everybody that I'd love to have 18. And really what I told Brad Hudson is 6.2 is great, but 6.2 3 years ago. And so he's going to probably be senator next year. And so, but he didn't know his work. I met with him Saturday morning, and by Saturday afternoon, we had the budget chair's commitment that he would add some money. So Brad really did it. So that's optimistic, right?
Very nice.
Yep.
A million here, a million there, right, it all ends up after a while.
More than that, that's my opinion.
Steve?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity in 4 years to be able to be here and do this. And I plan on staying involved as much as I can, just because it's a great project. It involves the whole community down in 76 out there. So thanks for that opportunity. A couple questions. On the easements for segment 3, as you alluded to while ago there, are those, I don't know that those were ever filed properly. And as I saw Universal's presentation, it really did make me think, is that in place where it needs to be? I don't know, we signed the temporary easement for Presley's. It didn't end up, Cheryl, I think, being filed, I believe. In that point, I asked that question, making sure that segment 3 is locked in where it needs to be, from an easement side.
As far as I know, all of the easements were filed at the courthouse.
They were filed, okay, there's one point they were not, so that's what I was curious about. Yeah. And the third one is just a question, and maybe you can share or not share with me that, with Andy Williams Theater being sold to a not-for-profit, is that going to be a tax? Are we going to be able to collect city tax on that property? That's so the possibility that it won't be, and then is that? Okay. That's a lot for the community on that from that point. Great new investment coming in, but the tax basis, especially out for them.
Are you sure? Well, is it 501c?
I don't know. I know they list as an not-for-profit. I'm sure what they are. I'm just curious more than anything, because it's great to see a new project going in for an empty building out there. But hopefully it generates some tax. Yeah.
So one thing, I appreciate everybody. I think you also are gonna have to tell me what's the right way to get input. And I'll give you an example. So, because you don't want to be disruptive. So when Chuck's over there talking about, different kinds of plans and working with contractors, well, I think he's dead on. But on the other side, if you look at line 32, what you're gonna see is that you're gonna push yourself so your deadline is right after Christmas. And if you can take line 32 and cut it down 15 days, your deadline is right before Christmas, so you got mobilization. So you're really better off to try to get that pre-work done so that you don't have any deadlines that are right in Christmas. But by the way, 60 days in there, and if you can do 45 by doing what you talked about with that pre-work, you'll be better off. Just characterize it. Does everybody know who Glenn Shaw?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is the alderman, can you alderman? He needs to be introducing. That's Glenn Schultz, the new alderman.
Glenn was the elected alderman in Ward 2. And very active with all the projects we're doing. And Tuesday night, we was going to party as the second Ward 2 alternate. So, and he brings it through.
Artie Lucas.
Okay.
Yes.
Poor guy.
He has, he's been on the state legislature in Kansas. He was 3 times on the county commissioners. Businessman, I mean, he has a tremendous amount of knowledge that he's gonna bring to you.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And Glenn had learned all this too. Just from the little time I spent with him.
Any other new business to discuss? No, for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You too.
Paul, I have the resolutions for them to sign.
You and.
I'll do it right now.
Chuck.
I'm sorry.
Signing these res-
I have the resolutions for them to sign.
Okay. You guys send them.
Always be evolving.
Of course, I don't want, or don't want you to-
See you later. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right.
So.